Hi, everybody. It's Craig from Doc Sports, and we're back with how about a Friday? Usually we do this for Thursday, but I'm in Vegas, and last night I was out with the boss man. So we moved it back a night. So we got a Friday, the March 28th. We're going to have one play in college hoops in the Sweet 16. We're going to have two in the NBA, and we're going to try to do this in about 10, 12 minutes. So make sure you stay tuned. If you haven't done so, make sure you like and subscribe, and you get in on these 3 free picks from both of us. So we haven't even told each other what we like. We never do that. We know what games we're going to talk about, and then we hit it live. Sometimes it'll be the same side, sometimes opposite. So get your NBA pick and your college basketball picks here for Friday. Now, don't forget, you can get our best plays. Go to DocSports.com/free60. That'll get you a $60 free account for all new users. Of course, if you're an existing user, you just go to the grid and get on it. And Arun, you have did you tell me 7-unit tomorrow?
Probably college basketball.
You like a 3-pack though, right? A 3-pack.
Yeah, 3-pack. Yeah.
So not all 3 will be 7-unit plays.
No.
So, but one of them will be. But you'll get all 3 if you buy the $30 pass. You get all 3. So it's a bonus. It's been a topsy-turvy NBA recently. I mean, it's like teams that are out of it, teams that are fighting for the playoffs, injuries. I mean, lines have been absolutely huge. But we're looking at what I think is a pretty good matchup. But the line says no. The Cleveland Cavaliers at the Detroit Pistons. Cleveland Cavaliers favored by 9, total 231.5. Arun, what do you like on this one?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to – don't laugh. This is my DoorDash. This is a live DoorDash pickup here. Hello?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, please do. Thank you. Yeah, that's the gate. Just want you all to know that I got my DoorDash, okay?
Chipotle, I hope.
No.
I only DoorDash Chipotle.
Do you know it's the wife likes Italian and then like street food type stuff. So that's cool. But no, as far as Cleveland and Detroit are concerned, Cleveland beat them 118-115 last time out, and that was a 3-point win for them. That game went under 234, by the way. And the Pistons have been, and by the way, Cleveland's won this game the last 10 plus times too. And, Cleveland comes in beating San Antonio and beating Portland and Utah, but they do have the Clippers on deck a little bit, so maybe they could be looking ahead. And, for a team that didn't play particularly well against the Spurs, they didn't cover against the Spurs. But I will tell you this about Detroit. Detroit has been playing a little bit better, right? Winning 4 of 5. This is a real benchmark game for them. And last time they only lost by 3, right? And they were only 3.5-point dogs. And now they're listed, solidly as a 9-point dog here. I think the only way to look at this game is it probably goes over the posted total because I think Cleveland didn't play well against the Spurs. And I think Detroit's probably going to be an active dog. I wouldn't be surprised if this game goes over the posted total between these two teams.
Well, obviously the big number I should have mentioned should set you up better, but Cade Cunningham's out with the calf injury.
Yeah, and I think
that's the key.
So then the 2 young guards that are there too, normally when a player's out, I think what's going to happen is they're just going to shoot. And, what people think is when star players are out that more offense is going to be lacking. But in fact, I think it's the opposite. I think more defense is lacking when star players are out. So I like to take overs when star players are out too on top of that. So, yeah, like the over.
I'm taking the Cleveland Cavaliers here minus the points. I think this is a lay the wood game. Remember, it looks like Detroit's probably going to be the 4 or 5 seed. So this could be a matchup where we see them in the second round. If obviously Detroit would have, both of them would have to win a first round matchup. But I think it's a statement game for the Cleveland Cavaliers. After this game, if you look, the Cleveland Cavaliers can basically limp home, and they've already basically, in so many words, secured first place. I think this is a statement game. I'm taking Cleveland minus the big number. I think they win by double digits. No problem. Cade Cunningham is the key. Like that dude, he is everything for Detroit. I mean, he is the playmaker. It's not always just his scoring. He also can get out in transition, get other people easy shots. I think that'll be a struggle a little bit. Give me Cleveland Cavaliers minus the points in this opening game we're talking about. Now, second free pick that we like, we're going to a late game. And, Phoenix has been playing better. I will say I thought they were dead to rights. I thought they weren't even going to make the playoffs. Now it looks like they'll probably make the playing game. Timberwolves they kind of turned it on. They weren't what they were last year when they were, I think, second seed. Overall, they lost on the last game. But they were the number 1 seed going into like the last week of the season last year. That's just not been the case this year. But Minnesota's still a strong favorite here, -7, total 226. What do you think about this one?
Well, Anthony Edwards' favorite player is Kevin Durant. And he's mentioned that several times in a row, how much he loves KD, et cetera. But But the funny thing is he might be in his head too, because Minnesota's won this game the last 7 times, including about 25 days ago, winning 116-98. And then in January, winning 121-113. They've covered back-to-back times they played each other. And the last time they played each other, Phoenix was actually up in that game, and then they had a bad third quarter. And that was a ball game where, they just couldn't get it done, man. It was just a terrible second half for them. Minnesota rolls in, though, losing to the Pacers on the road by 16 after beating New Orleans. But this is the same team that beat Denver on the road by 20. And then you have Phoenix rolling in, losing by 30 points to Boston, which was ugly. That was a game where they were a 5-point dog and more was expected, and they didn't do well. I think what probably happens here is, and the first time they met each other, it went under the 234 as well, and this one is slated at 226. I wouldn't be surprised if this game goes under, just because you have Phoenix, who comes off giving 132 points in the last game. That's the most they've given up in a long time. I mean, you have to go back to the Denver game, and that went to overtime too. In regulation, I think that is the most that they've given up. Yeah, in regulation, that's the most amount of points they've given up all year, maybe. Yeah, all year. Everything else was overtime. So you combine that with the fact, and they gave up 116 points to them, and they lost them last time too. And the only way Phoenix wins ball games these days is through defense, right? Beating Milwaukee 108-106. So I like the under here. I think what happened, and typically Timberwolves bounce back when they lose on the defensive side. So I'll take the under.
Yeah, this Minnesota team, that's really been the defense issues this year, is that last year they were the best defensive team in the league. Maybe not as with pace of play put in there, but as far as just points. And this year they just aren't that team. They, Karl Anthony Towns is not a great defender, so I don't get it. It doesn't make a sense, but it's just the case. I'm taking Phoenix here plus the points. I promised myself about 3 weeks ago I would never play Phoenix again because they were playing some of the worst basketball and the worst defense. But the last couple of weeks, maybe Kevin Durant said, listen, dude, I want to try to play in the play-in tournament. I want to go ahead and put that on my resume that I'm playing in a play-in tournament as well, like LeBron did the last couple of years, and Steph Curry. I like the Suns here getting the points. I think they're a dangerous – Bradley Beal's not playing in this one, but I think they're a dangerous outright upset even maybe. It could be a sweet payoff here, but I'll take the points as our official free play here for Friday. Now, we're going to move to college basketball. Before I do so, don't forget, you can get in our best plays. You go to docsports.com/free60 to get you a free $60 account. And while you're over there, if you're an existing user, you just don't even need that. You just go right to the grid and you get in college hoops. Arun's got a 3-pack, including a 7-unit play. And when we talk about 7 units, our 5, 6, 7, and 8 are what we consider top plays. And we only have 8 units are like reserved for game of the year. So we don't have very many of them. So 7-unit is a big step out game. So make sure you get in. All right, we're looking at the college basketball slate now for the Sweet 16 on Friday. And we've got Ole Miss versus Michigan State coming out of the Big Ten. I'm actually surprised Michigan State's only a 3.5-point favorite. I was like, okay, who's injured? But a total 143.5. I see who you like in this one.
I like Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is going to shock some people in this game. Because first of all, I'm a huge fan of Chris Beard, right? Yeah. This is a guy that, went through a lot of shit in Texas Tech and then Texas. And then he's now got this team at 24-11. And last year, if you remember, Ole Miss didn't make it to the dance, right? And then so this is the first time he's in the dance with this team, and they've been totally ignored. Like no one is talking about Ole Miss. And this is a team that beat BYU early this year. They beat Louisville. They beat Alabama on the road by 10, which is impressive. They beat Kentucky. And they've had some big wins. Yes, they've lost to Mississippi State and Vanderbilt and Auburn. But I actually think it's more impressive what they've done. They beat a North Carolina team who was really hungry to win, and they beat them by 7. And then they turn around and they beat Iowa State by 13. And Iowa State was a good team coming in. Yep. This team is top 5 in turnover margin. And this team has a lot of grit. This team has 8 seniors, I think, as 8 upperclassmen. I mean, if you are a junior on this team, you are an underclassman. So you've got a lot of
JV.
Yeah, you've got a lot of upperclassmen. Team that dropped 91 points on Iowa State, and Iowa State shot 56% from the field. And this team ended up beating Iowa State. They, made them turn it over, 15 or 16 times. I mean, they faced a top 15 defense and dropped 91 on them. And look, Michigan State's a fabulous team, no doubt, but Michigan State's terrible at 3-pointers. Right? Michigan State is outside the top 303-point field goals. Michigan State did beat New Mexico in Bryant, but that's not as impressive as what Ole Miss did by beating UNC and Iowa State. And I think that's why the line is 3.5. And I think what they're going to do, and Chris Beard's a smart coach, he's going to make them shoot. He's going to make them shoot. And, Michigan State shot 4 for 15 from three-point land, 27%, and they beat New Mexico. The difference was New Mexico had 10 free throws, and New Mexico's a terrible free throw shooting team, 5 for 10, and Michigan State went 19 for 28. Well, that's not going to happen, especially with an SEC team. They're going to shoot a bunch of free throws, and Ole Miss shot 21 free throws against, Iowa State, and I think that's going to even out. The only reason why Michigan State won that game is because they shot free throws. And I think Ole Miss will be much better on the defensive side. Ole Miss is top 25 in defense. And, I like Ole Miss to shock people here.
With the points, I'm guessing, do you like any sprinkle of 1 plus 145 on the money line?
No, because I'm a wuss.
I like them for the first half on the money line. I kind of worry that Michigan State's size might wear them down a little bit, but I think in the first half they'll be winning. So I'm going to take them on the money line. We see it like plus 128, plus 130. You can get them on the first half. I think they'll probably make Michigan State play their style, which I worry about Big Ten teams. I worry about Michigan tomorrow as well. Can they force their style? If it gets up and down, I don't think Michigan's going to win that game. I think the same thing with Michigan State. So I know they have played in the Big Ten. I just don't think the Big Ten was as good as what we've seen in years past, and they're getting a lot of credit because they, won the league, and they were very impressive this year. Wake came out like nowhere for me. I'm taking the underdog in the first half, plus 125, we'll call it, in this free play. So those are your 6 free plays for Friday here in the Sweet 16 and the NBA. Don't forget, if you like our content, very simple. You hit that like, you hit the subscribe button right here after the video, like on either side of us. You can hit the next video in the group and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, so you make sure you miss out. And next week we'll be back. So we'll be back on Wednesday for Thursday's game. Maybe we'll be talking that new Crown tournament. I was just over at MGM today. It's being played here in Vegas, and it's going to be interesting. It starts on Monday, goes all the way through Friday. And that's why the NIT stinks this year. All the good teams that were left all played in this Vegas tournament. So maybe a little hidden gem. We don't know. Who knows? All right, guys, have a good one. Thanks again, Indian Cowboy. I hope all your bets are winning ones. Let's go.